Welcome back to the Hearthstone World Championships. We're here in Burbank, California. Going into BlizzCon, we've got a lot of action left. We've gone through most of the groups already, and we've just got 2 matches left. And there's
Reals, you can't be.
Go.
Listen. You can't be better at hosting and analysis than me, or I am out of a job. So cut the crap.
I was just trying it on, just seeing how the color looked on me.
Not bad.
10-10 intro would watch again.
Well done, Reals. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun. I'm happy to be back on. I saw some of the elimination matches, and some of the intensity of the matches have been, underplayed because you don't see behind the scenes. I was back there, and I was talking to Tom, and he was like, "Dude, I played so bad," and he was really upset. Visually, you can just see him crushed, and it's just, these guys, they wanted more than anything to perform very well. So it's just sad that 2 players had to go home, but we're not done. We're still only halfway through the elimination matches for today.
Yeah.
The tournament's actually kind of brutal, even though it's like great prizes the whole way down.
Right.
If you're good enough to qualify this far in, you look at it and you're like, there's actually a reasonable chance that I'm going to win $100,000 in the next week.
And when you're stuck with 1/20th of that, it just feels like so much lost opportunity, especially for these guys who, they're the best in their region. So it's always like when you're going and you're best in the neighborhood, like you're at a local fighting game, you think you're really good.
Yeah, no, this isn't like GoldenEye where everyone thinks that they're the best in the whole world. Okay?
Right.
This is like, we have this proven. These guys are top end.
Yeah,
They know they're good at the game.
Yeah.
And they wanted a chance to showcase it. And it's still a relatively small sample size for these players. There are a lot of players who didn't even make it here who are really great, and these are some of the absolute best, and to go out here it's got to hurt a little bit.
It does, and hopefully we can see these guys be able to bring their best, and you know what, leave it all on the table in the sense. If you play your best and you lose, that's the only thing you can ask for.
Yeah.
Chiro, he is in the losers match. He is also apparently a magician on the side of things.
Well, hopefully he can pull out some magic here in this match and use it to stay alive. And he's going to need to, because going down 0-1, being on the brink of elimination, is definitely not where you want to be playing against a player like Green Sheep.
That's right. Green Sheep, 16-year-old. Or is he 17 now? I don't know. He's really young. He needed a legal guardian to come from the UK.
That's true.
Youngest of the tournament.
That's right. He's all the way here. He's on Team Dignitas. He was not happy at all. This morning, me and Artosis were on the shuttle over here, and he's like, it really wants to win today more than anything.
And I can't blame him. Wouldn't you want to win, Artosis?
No, I'd want to lose. Being a caster is just the best.
Yeah.
Was that your StarCraft career plan, or?
No.
Wasn't the plan, but it's the way it worked out.
Oh, man. Still hurts.
Well, we see that, quite a big bio about him, but let's learn a little bit more about Green Sheep as well.
But now we see a player kind of up on the rise.
Green Sheep takes out Tice.
And that's it. Green Sheep goes into that top 8. Oh my god, that was so crazy there at the end.
And it looks like Green Sheep going to BlizzCon.
I come from the United Kingdom, Northwest. I live in a small town called St. Anne's. I'm a full-time student. I go to school every day. Sometimes I can't participate in qualifiers for some tournaments because it's in school time.
My family at first, they didn't really like all about gaming. They focused on studying, but after I told them a bit about it and what I could do and what I've accomplished so far, they're starting to support gaming a bit more.
Most of my close friends, they're all gamers too. They all play Hearthstone, and yeah, they always cheer me on. They're actually texting me the minute I actually qualified top 4 for BlizzCon. They're all really supportive. It's great to have them. From the EU qualifiers, the person that I'm most worried about facing is Kolento, of course. Seeing as how his current streak has been going, he's been winning everything everywhere. I never knew I would 3-0. First game, I was like, 1-0, okay. This can't be happening, I can't go 3-0. Second game, 2-0. And finally I was like, no, this isn't happening, I'm not going 3-0 here. But it actually happened. I was so amazed right afterwards.
right, we did learn some nice things about Green Sheep there. Very nice kid, very strong player. We definitely saw some mistakes in the EU regional qualifiers, but at the same time, I felt like he played really, really well. Like he had all the right ideas, just, maybe the stress of pressure, making him make a few mistakes.
Yeah, he does seem to always have a cohesive strategy as he has a great mind for the game, and hopefully that is good enough here. I wonder what his strategy will be in terms of what deck he wants to open with. I think they're loading into the game now, so we'll get to take a look.
All right, looks like Shiro going to open up with Hunter.
Oh.
His Shaman was actually banned, and then Green Sheep, whose Hunter was banned, is going to open up Warlock. So it's going to be Hunter going up against Handlock here.
Wow. So
That's going to be tough.
generally considered that Hunter has the favored matchup when
Yeah.
you're playing Hunter against Handlock. So was that a bit of a misstep for Green Sheep? Did he just guess wrong?
Yeah, well, I'm actually a little bit surprised he opened with that. I guess it's really good against 2 decks of Shiro.
Yeah.
Like, really good. And
Yeah, but Hunter's just such a good leadoff class.
it is.
Yeah, even if it's weak against the field, because
Yeah.
just it can beat anything, especially with a start like this.
Yeah, that's-
Undertaker into Coin Leper Gnome into My Greetings.
It is a really powerful start. But at least he has Iron Beak Owl. That is one of the better answers to
Yeah.
these types of early aggression that Hunter can throw at you.
We're going to have a flock of owls next turn, perhaps.
Is it a flock of owls or
I believe
a
it is
pack
a flock.
of owls? I want to see.
I believe it's a flock. It would not be a pack. Like, I know the types of animals that have packs, and an owl is not.
A murderer.
Yeah, what is a
Murder
group
crows.
of owls called?
Did you know that a group of ferrets is called a business of
A
ferrets?
business of ferrets.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
A business of ferrets.
A business of ferrets. Look it up.
Do you know what elk are?
No, I don't. What is it?
I believe they're a gang.
A gang of elk?
Yeah, I've
Oh,
ran
yeah.
into some. I've ran into some mean elk before. They
Yeah.
definitely are a gang.
Yeah, they will cut you.
With their horns, because they're elk.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's a conundrum of owls.
A conundrum of owls. That's actually perfect.
Sounds really smart.
You
just
should
like
write
an owl would.
encyclopedias. What are you doing at Blizzard?
Oh, by the way, this mad scientist trap. We don't. It looks like to be snake trap
Yeah.
because we can't see the reveal.
It's
of
definitely.
the highlight.
Yeah. Okay, so good to know that. Looks like he wants to trade into the owl here.
Good riddance.
Well, already down to 20. That is quite a bit of damage coming in.
It is indeed, and he has some really key cards in his hand as well, like Hunter's Mark, to help get through a big taunt later on. He does have Savannah Highmane, which is going to be kind of problematic to remove.
The key is whether or not he knows this is snake trap. He hasn't had a chance to identify it yet, right? Oh, I think he has. He attacked last turn.
Yep.
Yeah, he knows it's a snake trap. No, he doesn't.
No,
If he doesn't
uh,
attack here, actually...
Oh.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
so
no,
he
because he
thinks
killed the
it's freezing.
2-2 with this 4-3, so he doesn't know. He thinks it might be freezing.
Right.
And we've seen a lot of both freezing and snake this tournament.
Yeah.
I think we've seen one explosive trap.
We saw 2 explosive traps in different decks.
Okay. But snake and freezing have been the more
Surprisingly, no misdirections.
the more dominant traps. Oh, really surprising. And also, how surprised are you?
Not very. To be perfectly honest, Reels, I was pulling your leg.
All right.
Oh, Artosis, you jokester.
That's me. All right, so does decide to deal with this Belcher. But this gives him an easy way to test for the trap, that little slime.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a nice thing, I guess.
Well, it's going to turn into snakes, though,
Well,
when he does test for it.
You test by attacking phase, don't you?
Normally. Like, I would think about attacking face with slime here.
Yep.
And test now, you know, it's Snake Trap. Do you kill the Undertaker? What
Well,
about the snakes?
Maybe you go to face with your 4 damage and Soulfire the Undertaker.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. And also, let's see, he does have, like, Life Gain, Taunt Giver, a big Twilight Drake could come out.
Oh,
He taps.
this is
That
actually
ballsy.
this is a game where he could he could face Jiraxis.
Oh.
That's actually a good discard. I like that
Well,
discard.
Out
It's
of
a
all the
reasonable
rest of the
discard.
discards, I think that is a good one to have.
Yeah.
How did it? Can anyone report that bug, please?
Yeah, I thought you're supposed to discard Jiraxis, but
Or
I
the
don't know what
Soulfire.
happened there. Maybe it's because he life tapped into it so quickly and it just it didn't
You know
have
what
time
it
to
is
register.
because Ben Brode is not commentating this game. we
Oh,
are
That's
going to
right.
get Draxus out. It's going to be the sickest Draxus battle.
maybe as soon as he got off
Draxus
the...
is going to
true.
single-handedly take on an entire Hunter deck.
I think so. But don't worry, I'm sure you'll hear Ben Brode roaring somewhere in the
Yeah.
crowd.
Oh, man.
Wow, look at this.
That is an intimidating board.
Dat life gain.
And he already
Them
used
taunts.
a Hunter's Mark.
Yep.
So it's
And
not going to be easy to bash through this.
it might be the only Hunter's Mark in the deck. A lot of times,
True.
the time these Hunter decks lately only have one. And,
Oh.
Iron Mikal is a good way to get
yeah.
through it.
Yeah, very good.
And I wonder if it will prompt him to kill
Wow.
off the 4-1 as well. I imagine
what,
it
Drake?
will. Wow. Well,
That's a good impression of Green Sheep.
Yeah.
He's-
He definitely does have a very strong.
well,
He's
now
a tad all in, huh?
there's 6 minions on the board. So when the
Oh!
I think
Damn!
we are going to see Draxus this game.
Yeah. He's going to trigger Snake Trap and play the Hellfire after attacking the face.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Hell, I'd life tap too.
You might as well
You
get
should.
the extra card. You're
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
not going to
And you're gonna
die.
play your life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're
That is
planning on playing
fantastic.
Draxus.
Yeah, and I mean you have this ooze in hand for the bow when it comes out. You're in great shape. If he spends any mana damaging you, like he uses hero power and that's fine. But like
True.
if he tried to do anything else, it doesn't even matter.
I mean, how much does it matter to get the traps out of the way, though, if you do have Jiraxis and you're attacking phase? I
Okay,
mean, you're doing Hellfire.
that's fair. Okay, yeah,
Like,
you're right.
You actually might just kill him next turn with Jiraxis
Yeah.
and Soulfire.
Yep. At this point,
Life tap. No way you can deal 10.
Well, he could have played the acidic swamp ooze and then he could have.
Oh, if this is a Misha.
All right. Well,
Oh, that's not going to do it.
I'll be honest. I'm
and
surprised
guess
he
what
didn't play the
kills?
ooze. Oh, but
Like
yep,
the
Jiraxis
most damage he
Soulfire.
could have done on an empty board is 11.
Well, there it is. Jiraxis literally for the win. Well, if he Soulfires first, come on, Soulfire first. Killing blow with Jiraxis. All right, that's okay.
Very nice.
Oh, he revealed the news from
Oh,
the deck.
well.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you should have waited another 2
Yeah.
turns. You're
Yeah.
right.
Wow, what an exciting
Well
game.
done,
And
and-
once again, Hunter dropping a matchup where we thought it's really dominant.
You know, this is the thing about Handlock. We keep finding out it's better against everything. The better people get with it, it's like, no, we understand exactly how to mulligan at this point.
Right.
Exactly which cards are important, which cards you need to get rid of, the flow of damage, the flow of tapping for cards. It's crazy because the deck just keeps getting better matchups. We keep having to review the Handlock matchups and be like, no, it's a little bit better than we thought in every area.
Yeah, the coolest thing from that game for me was seeing the great hand for the Hunter. It wasn't some terrible hand where it's like, oh, well, yeah, of course Handlock beat Hunter when the Hunter hand is just awful.
Yeah, yeah.
It was really good.
They had
really
Undertaker, Leper Gnome, Mad Scientist.
To be fair, there was like
Savannah
double
Hyde.
Owl. He got right
Yeah.
into Draxus on
Well-
turn 9. It all worked out perfect for him as
It
well.
did, exactly.
But Handlock can fight back. And it's interesting because you're bringing up a really good point because people are just discovering that maybe it's not as one side as you thought. You just have to play the matchup differently.
Yeah.
Drafko was telling me that he felt like even though Priest against Shaman is normally hard, he said, I actually thought I could win.
Yeah.
I was like good
He
against
actually,
it.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
He
wow,
thought it
man.
was-
I made some joke about
So
Shaman,
brave.
and he's like, oh, my Shaman deck's actually really good against Priest, but Miracle's so good against I chose that first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess you did win. You did crush it. So,
Works for him.
Well, he thinks it's good.
that's
and,
a
he
Strife
won,
quote
so
right there.
A Strife quote?
A Strife
A
quote.
Strife Pro Strife quote.
Yeah.
Say that 10 times fast.
Hashtag Strife quotes.
Oh my god.
You can find them all at strifequotes.com.
It would be. Everything smart the Strife Code says, I try to eat up as fast. I mean, just watch a talk show with him.
Yeah.
The guy will talk.
And Frodan
endlessly.
means literally eat it up. Like he writes down a piece of paper and swallows it because he believes that'll
That's
make
right.
him remember.
Digest it. Well, coming up onto game 2, it's going to be Rogue. Looks like for Chiro. What does he have after this Hunter? He has Rogue and he has
Wow.
Priest. And which would you rather face off against
Rogue.
Handlock? Is
Rogue
there a
into
need? Is there
Handlock.
none of the above option?
Wow, and
Well, I guess you could. Yeah, this makes Shaman such a great ban actually by Green Sheep. That was
Yeah.
that was a smart ban.
If he can get
Yep.
past that
Yeah.
matchup alone, Green Sheep has a really big chance to just run away with the series.
Yeah. And look, Sinister Strike, so this is Malygos, which means it's a little bit better against Handlock than some of the other ones. You know, like you don't have to charge in. Taunts don't really matter.
This Handlock also is a little bit better against Rogue because of the Acidic on Swamp Ooze.
That is true,
To destroy your opponent's weapons.
Yeah.
Ooze does help a lot, but Malygos also helps a lot.
Sure.
Maybe it cancels out, and maybe Handlock is still just a little favored.
Yeah, I would say that Handlock is probably still a little favorite here, but, you know, if you get 2 Sinister Strikes off with Mally, then Handlock is just done.
Well, it's still a long way from that point. The most important aspect is, can the Handlock get something by turn 4 to drop threatening enough? And, more importantly, can the Rogue player answer that threat if it comes?
Yep. Well, there's a sap already, which can take care of it temporarily, but nothing that will kill it outright yet. And it can be really difficult to kill those large minions outright, just in general, and usually the only way to do it effectively is with like an Eviscerate.
Yes.
Look
with
at this.
spell power.
Look at this Rogue hand. If he doesn't draw an Auctioneer, this hand is so bad.
Ooh. Black Knight.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good one. And
actually, that means that maybe this is not, like... Would you put
not
Black
Malygos?
Knight in a Mally deck? Like,
I think you could.
Wow, Black Knight in Black Knight in everything, man.
And,
Ooze in everything.
well, here's a Black Knight target for you. Can't play it yet, but it's going to be coming up soon. And Gadget Sand along with Prep and Conceal.
Do you do it this turn?
That's so tempting, but you're walking
might
into the
be
possibility
better.
of Shadow Flame, and it is there.
Might be better to clear the board. Although, I don't think this is
So you
something
can't
wanna
clear this
sap
turn,
either.
like...
You can if you sap and...
Thing is, you draw so many more cards. Yeah, Sap is actually not bad.
Sap is
I
not
do
bad.
like the Sap play.
You're assuming you'll be able to find Black Knight targets later.
Which I think it's not too hard to assume. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Sludge
at
Belchers,
minimum Sludge, yeah.
Interestingly enough, too, Green Sheep is running 2 Defender of Argus. That's a flexible spot where Handlock players feel like they can get away with only running 1, and including some other tech.
Wow.
But there is double Defender.
Well, and Chiro or
Chiro. Yeah.
Cheerio.
Says the
Cheerio.
the answer was turn
Cheerio
5
versus James
nothing.
Lou.
Turn 5 nothing was not what I would have expected.
Sorry, we're totally having fun at the Britain's expense. But you're trying to explain the game real, sorry.
I'll let it
We're
go
bad
this
like
time.
that.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
wow!
I wonder if he'll sap it. I don't think it would even be that bad if
No,
he did.
I think Sap is fine because
Deny the Shadow
you
Flame.
have to assume that he could Shadow Flame here.
Well,
and that-
he most likely will anyways if
Yeah.
he has it on turn 6. So, do you just ignore it?
no, he's going to
Wow.
Sap it. Great play. Great
This
play.
is great. And if this makes just the Sludge Belcher come back down, he'll be able to Black Knight it and play Deadly Poison to kill off the slime.
Whoa!
Yeah,
That's
that's
nice.
one.
Yeah.
That's one. But you know what? Taunts are less important against Malygos.
That's true.
Right.
So, but it's not as high impact. But you know, that was cool. Green Sheep not going to Shadow Flame. He can
Well-
Shadow Flame with just an Ancient Watcher.
He would have to Ancient Watcher Shadow Flame, and
I think that's very worth it.
he does reconsider, so he ends up going to it.
Yeah. I think he needed to do that. You can't
Yeah.
leave that out another turn. I mean, all that mana, all those cards in hand,
Yeah.
done.
And so now the Azure Drake comes out. This is a pretty reasonable answer. And oh, Malygos is here. So unfortunately, both preps are gone.
Yeah.
And
But he has 2 Sinisters in hand, so he can do 1 on turn 10 for 8.
right.
This is looking pretty good for Shiro, really. Like, I wouldn't be too afraid of him.
Well, let's see. There's still some distance you have to close. The problem is Handlock's not putting any pressure. Like, where are all of his threats? Both saps have been used. So, any giant that comes down is a legitimate threat.
Wow. And so here comes the Black Knight.
Dang, that's just such an intimidating board.
Oh, I love Malygos Miracle, man.
It's really cool.
I think it's so cool. I know that it wasn't always the best, but I like that some of the players have decided that it makes sense in their deck lineup, that this is the style that they want to play.
There's
Malygos
the
Miracle
Drake.
is so cool, man. He's even got the golden Malygos.
Rightfully so.
like not even having Soulfire here to take care of the Azure Drake is also unfortunate. Green Sheep's been drawing pretty rough this game.
Yeah, and this is going to make for a lot of damage coming in. Finally, not being able to stop. He's even counting it up.
Is that lethal?
Let's see, 4, 8,
I doubt it.
10,
16.
18, and then
19 is Blade Flurry plus Blade Flurry for 2.
that's 21, isn't it?
Is that 21?
Does he have the mana to do that?
I don't know if he has the mana to do all that.
It looks like
Yeah,
he
he does.
might.
7. It's 7 mana.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He has it. That's lethal.
Oh my goodness. Good spot here, Reels.
Well, I think it was Artosis, actually.
Good spot here, Reels. Man,
Wow,
that's the end of game
exacties.
2.
Wow.
Shiro, the equalizer. So he loses one really great matchup and wins a pretty
Telling
bad
you,
one.
This has just been opposite
It's
day.
wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
But you know what? Again, the Malagos Rogue, especially when you're seeing a card like Black Knight in there, going to do a little bit better against Handlock. And it's actually been something that's been debated by some top players for quite some time, that Miracle is not so unfavorable against Handlock.
Right.
This has been debated heavily amongst top pros.
Yeah, I know a lot of players who went so far as to saying, when my opponent plays Handlock, I play Miracle Rogue. And for example,
Who said that?
Zixo. He used to play, when his opponent played Handlock, if he lost to Handlock, he would play Miracle Rogue. So
that's pretty crazy.
I think it's showing that matchups are maybe a lot closer than you think they are sometimes.
Yeah. You know, when I play Miracle and I run into a Handlock, I'm just oh no, thank you. But I've definitely seen some top guys, like I've seen Strife Crow dismantle Handlock before with it, and actually a lot of the Chinese and Korean players I've seen use Miracle very effectively into Handlock.
Right.
Well, now the series is tied 1-1. Hopefully things go well for Green Sheep, who's able to get that one-game advantage because he does have the luxury, if he keeps going 1-for-1, will have the final say in the series. But that was great Miracle play.
It was.
From Chiro. He's able to identify perfectly what he wanted to do. And there's some turns where like he passed on turn 5, he saved all of his resources, and we're like, well, okay. And that ended up being exactly the reason why he was able to end up going for some damage there, because he was able to manage his resources efficiently.
Yep. I liked it a lot. It's going to put the onus back on Green Sheep to say, okay, how do you want to deal with this Miracle?
Well,
and that can be a difficult thing to do sometimes. Miracle sometimes just gets there against anything.
Yeah, and I mean, his two choices are not the best against this. He's going with Shaman next, and it makes sense because Priest is left over, and he doesn't want to, get counterpicked, I think. Like, he wants to see if the Shaman can pick up a win, because the Warrior is going to have a much better shot against the Priest than the Shaman is.
Makes a lot of sense, and, well, it does put him on that Shaman.
Yikes.
Yikes, indeed. So,
Coin, Gadget Sand, and Prep.
Pretty good.
Loatheb as well.
Okay, well, depends on what kind of Shaman, like you guys have been mentioning. And Green Sheep being able to be aggressive as a Shaman was something that he really liked when he brought it to the European qualifiers.
Oh. Well, turn 4 or 5 is prepared.
Oh, man.
For Chiro.
Just brutal. Here's just a quick question for you guys. When you have exactly this set of cards in your hand, because you get this every now and then, do you prefer the turn 4 or the turn 5 gadgets on?
I actually like the turn 6 gadgets in.
Well, I mean, with specifically you have Prep, Coin, and Conceal. You still prefer turn 6?
I like using Coin as a draw mechanic. It's like a third preparation in a sense. So using it to get the gadgets in out feels a lot weaker, just because you never know if that one card that unlocks is the card you want to prep, as opposed to because you didn't draw one deeper.
Yep.
You have to use one suboptimally.
So on turn 5, then you're saying?
No, he's saying turn 6.
Turn 6.
When you have the coin?
Yeah. No, when you have Coin.
Well, that's the specific question: is the Conceal, Coin, Prep, gadgets on? What turn do you like to go off?
Yeah, turn 5 is fine then.
Oh, okay.
It is quite nice on turn 5. When you can, you do.
Yeah.
There are matchups where, I guess, the Miracle Rogue matchup that's really volatile with Leroy costing 4 doesn't exist anymore. But when it did, you sometimes would go for
That's true.
turn 4, and you would coin out your Gadgetzan. Even though you lose the card, getting the tempo gain of getting it out of turn earlier was such a big deal, and having the initiative in that matchup was such a big deal. You wanted to leapfrog them if you could.
Makes sense. Now, one thing I want to point out is in the last match that Green Sheep had, his Shaman deck was actually banned. So we aren't sure if this is like Lava Burst, if this is double Doomhammer, you know, is this some sort of aggressive one or maybe a more controlling one? Obviously, you know, most Shaman decks have a very strong core, you know, of, I would say, at least 25 cards or so that you're like, woo, these are pretty much going to be in there.
Well, this is going to be a lot of damage set up as soon as this Gadgetzan gets concealed.
Well, does he want to attack with his SI7 agent on something beforehand? Depends on what he draws, I suppose.
Yeah, I imagine he'll just go to the face and then conceal.
Wow.
Just
fantastic.
so much damage.
Wow.
Oh, and he's going to kill the
He
totem
loses his
instead.
spell power. It's one way he could have almost guaranteed. Oh.
Wow.
I was about to say one way
I'd
he
say
could have
that.
almost guaranteed is if he kept his Drake and had spell power totem roll and then go for Lightning Storm. But I don't know if he can do that anymore.
I'm surprised a bit.
That's a great card to keep as well. No, Green Sheep does not look happy.
Well, that is a lot of cards to draw in one turn.
Oh.
That was
1,
miraculous.
2, 3,
That was
4, 5,
quite miraculous.
6, 7 cards. 7 cards drawn that turn.
It doesn't get any better than that. That is the dream.
Spell power totem doesn't hit. Oh, and there's a Blade Flurry waiting too, so...
Yeah, this is... It does not get worse than this, and the Green Sheep cannot be happy here. This is like... Oh, man.
Maybe he can start figuring out how he wants to kill him.
Yeah. He's so close to it. Like, the amount of advantage that he has here cannot be overstated.
Oh, but he's going to commit to using the Blade Flurry.
And the Death Rattles is rather annoying.
I feel like I might just go for damage. If you look at what's in his hand, he has 2 Sinister Strikes, and he has Malygos. I would not bother cleaning anything.
Yeah, 7 to the face is
He's like got him down low enough that
basically a
he's...
lot.
If you can live 4 more turns with all these cards in your hand, you win.
Absolutely.
That's it. Like, so
You need
this
4
is
turns
not
now?
an issue. No, I don't think you even need 4. I think he's actually dead well before then. He has to count it up.
Sinister Strike, Loatheb, attack the face for 7. Let him kill your Gadgetzan.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that this actually lets Lightning Storm be like a viable thing.
It also lets Feral Spirit be a thing later in the game as well.
Yeah.
Well, unless he has 2 Blade Flurries.
Well, in Malygos deck, you normally do,
Right.
but some people don't. Some people go for
That's
like
right.
double.
Savitz
instead.
was telling us how he ran one for a long time, and it's like,
Yep.
well, it's actually just inferior to run.
Yeah,
2.
he actually regretted that after Seat Story. The one Blade Fury.
Blade what?
Blade Fury. It's a card that you destroy your weapon to deal massive AoE damage.
Ah, he rolls high.
All right. Well,
And that might be a way for Green Sheep to potentially turn it around, but there is another Gadgetzan Auctioneer and Azure Tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just more where that came from.
It is going to be really tough to deal with. I don't think that 2 Feral Wolves or Spirit Wolves are going to be enough to win the game by themselves. So
Yeah, kind of hard to imagine.
Maybe 4 wolves. Oh, you can't even hex the next turn, by the way. You want to take care of Loatheb, because you'll be making your spells cost +5, and you only have 6.
So a little bit of mana off of exactly what he'd like to do this turn. Like, if he could Loatheb Dagger, Deadly Poison, that's pretty sick, but not quite there.
Yeah, you can't have it all.
He already had it all, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, let's be real.
Yeah.
That was about
Real's
as good as it
telling
gets.
us to be real.
You're welcome.
Nice.
Here we go.
I'm actually quite impressed that like Mirgor has not fatigued yet. They've drawn.
Yeah.
Shiro's drawn so many cards.
Well, and Doomhammer is there now, and there's an ooze in the opposing hand.
Yeah, that's true. But Doomhammer could be something that he saves for Rockbiter, knowing that Ooze is in there.
Yep. And now it's we might see something like Azure Drake, or we might see the Loatheb again. Both of those are good options. All right, and Assassin's Blade is drawn. So both Deadly Poisons are gone. So it's just an Assassin's Blade. He might be playing to Blade Flurry, though, which is something... Blade Fury, sorry.
Yeah.
Which is a card that is quite good with Malagos. Usually the Malagos decks try to run as many of the damage spells as they can.
Yeah.
And that sometimes even means two Blade Fury.
He said that was a mistake, but I wasn't paying closely attention if he wanted to do something else.
Well, I think here, like, wouldn't you prefer to play the Blood Mage rather than Dagger? It's just like so close to death.
Oh, man.
I don't know what I'd prefer to do if I was Chiro.
I'd prefer to restart the game and say, let's do it again.
The problem with... Oh, man, this Doomhammer's just going to get destroyed by the ooze. Oh, man.
Yeah,
and like,
sure is.
Green Sheep already looks like... you know, he's on tilt right now, so...
He looks pretty defeated. Well, at turn 5, he was like, oh, I guess this one isn't going my way.
Right.
It's after someone draws
Yeah.
7 cards on turn 5, I don't think you're holding out too much hope to win the game.
So, you know, if he gets his Doomhammer ooze, it's just like everything you did this game was completely denied, and he's going for it because I think it's his best chance to win.
Yep, I agree there. Usually, when you know you don't quite have it, you say, okay, it's time to race.
But the problem is, there is a news waiting on the other side.
Is that 13 only as well?
Is there lethal?
No.
Well, Assassin's Blade is 3. No.
Okay.
Yeah, not quite.
Oh, man. Sapping
Oh,
the Thalnos so that he can't draw.
wow.
Ouchies.
Wow, he well played as he was attacking the face. So he got up in Green Sheep's ear and whispered it.
You know what would be fantastic is if we actually saw him leave from his screen and then we saw his face go near Green Sheep.
Just whisper it.
His eyes never turn towards the monitor. He's there to let him know.
Oh, man.
There is a line, I think, between BM and unsportsmanlike. You don't want to cross that line.
Yes,
All right. Well, Chiro's going to take game 3.
Wow. This Miracle deck just doing some work right now.
Rogue is pretty streaky. We've been seeing Rogue do really well in bursts, and then, of course, falling flat on its face against Priest a couple times.
You know, that is the nature of Miracle decks, but the ones that fell to Priest were actually all the more heavy decks with specifically Violet Teacher. So,
Yep.
that's just something to point out. The Mali Rogues have been killing, and in fact, let me think. Okay, no. I was going to say, I remember at C-Story, Garo was saying that you really like the Teray Miracle, but
Yeah.
Teray's Miracle hasn't quite done it yet, but really the Mali Miracles are the ones doing it.
Yep. We've only seen one game of Teray Miracle. We've now seen a few good games of Malagos Miracle. Other than that, the successful one that we've seen is haha. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Well, Firebat, of course, not being able to take it out, but in the end, we saw that this Malagos Miracle Rogue has been very effective for Chiro, and now it's going to be Warrior versus the Rogue.
Okay, it's doable.
Yep.
It is a doable
It is
matchup. It's
doable.
hard, but
And if the series holds serve, a matchup that could be tough ends up being the one that wins anyways.
right.
So
And
we might go to Game 5.
yeah, and you know
I
what?
kind of hope so.
Game 5 would be Warrior against Priest, which I
Okay.
think that everyone agrees that Warrior has a little edge there.
Sure,
Can
sure.
go either way, especially with Thought Steal.
Those
but-
are some exciting games too,
Yeah,
generally speaking,
yeah.
because it's always like the priest barely heals out of the range of
Yeah,
Grommash, and
exactly.
it's like, what does he thought steal? So there's some really exciting moments in that matchup.
Yeah.
So it should be a good one.
That's right.
Looking forward to it.
But in the meantime, this warrior needs to just survive. And
Yeah.
I like when you reference the Story Cup and some of the games we saw with Malagos Miracle. There was one game that stuck out to me a lot, which is the Amaz game, where he armored up and shield blocked and taunted and defended every single opportunity with Armorsmith, and he barely survived by 1 or 2 HP.
I think it was at 1 at the end.
And the rogue used like every card
Wow.
possible.
Yeah.
I think it was Capri. He used like every spell possible and felt like 1 damage short. It was crazy.
Wow. Well, if his
That
hand
can
can
happen.
do something like that, I hope he recognizes it
Yep.
and takes it in that direction.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
if you go in that direction and you don't hit that critical armor amount, it's like free win because you're not putting on
Yeah.
nearly enough pressure to do anything else other than heal out. So you got to look at your opening hand and what your opponent's doing in those first couple turns and really decide there, am I going to just try to armor up out of this range, or am I going to keep pressure on and do a combination of armoring up as well?
Is he in a good enough mindset, though? I mean,
Yeah.
he looks a little upset.
Yeah, he is looking a little down, and
He's
he is,
tilt cheap.
He's the youngest player in the tournament.
Well,
so
he's a bit green, you might say.
Nah.
I hope that he
Artosis
can,
said
Green went-
sheepishly.
Wow. Oh, man.
I'm hoping he can stay positive, and
Yeah.
it can be difficult to do at times when you're down. But the reality is that you're not out yet. So
Okay, he's got Harrison Jones.
yeah, that's a good one to have in the
Yeah.
opener.
And against an Assassin's Blade.
Oh, well,
right?
I'm surprised he's
Oh.
not going to keep it.
Yeah, I feel like I would keep
Wow.
Harrison.
And
I think Senjin,
Is he going to play more aggressively?
Senjin and Harrison actually aren't bad to keep together, too, because they might equip a weapon to get rid of them, and you kill the weapon.
I'm
but-
really,
Wow.
really surprised that he would
Interesting.
mulligan away Harrison Jones.
Yeah.
Even if you do something that appears to be a misplay, and we saw it once earlier where we saw a dagger up or whatnot destroyed by Harrison while the player was holding Assassin's Blade. So that's like, oh, he should have saved it for Assassin's Blade. But even then, Harrison's still really good.
Yeah. Well, Harrison's fantastic. Even against
5-4, draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
It's great.
And if they have a deadly poison, man, it's just even better. And Assassin's Blade, of course, it's like a game winner at times.
Yep. So I am quite surprised. He did get return of Sludge Belcher, though, which can be good against Miracle Rogue as long as they're not doing miraculous things already.
Yeah.
If they're already doing miraculous
Well, he's
things,
got
it's
Black Knight.
not so great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
does-
Black Knight. It's
He does
true.
have that Black Knight. We'll see where he ends up using it.
And both Ysera and Ragnaros are ready to go in Green Sheep's hand.
Yeah.
They're here a little bit early.
Here we go.
That is true. But, you know, if he's focusing more heavily
Huh.
on playing these taunts anyways, he does have the coin to help speed one of them out.
Shiro is
Yep.
saving his resource. Like, he's not shivving for an extra card here.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like that's something I
Wow.
would do. I'd be like, oh, I want to cycle a little bit more.
Right, get closer
Yeah.
to Gadget and Auctioneer to get closer to what ultimately can be the way you kill your opponent.
Has he
But-
looked at this and said, this is a slow start for my opponent, and I'll just save it? Or
I mean, but
Maybe
now
s-
because he saved it, he gets removed. So, I mean, that is the pro and con of each.
yeah.
Yep.
Also, because you draw your second Fiery War Axe, are you just going to start slamming?
The heavy hitters just keep appearing.
Yeah, I would say that the weapons are, for the most part, going to face this game.
Wow, this is a quick game. Jiro snap calls that Sludge Belcher. That is the target in the Warrior deck
Yeah.
because there's only a handful of taunts, right? These two Sludge Belchers and
To even see the
Senjin?
Senjin was almost a surprise
Right.
for Green Sheep. It looks like he made this a little bit more anti-aggro, as we can see from his hand as well. Like kind of anti-aggro, anti-control. But
Okay.
yeah, it's clearly a good move.
So, does he choose to armor up and be defensive, or does he want to be slightly more aggressive?
Well,
Fiery War Axe, chop in the face.
there you go. He's had that option for a while, and he decides to pull the trigger on it now. And Gadgetzan Auctioneer appears,
A wild
Oh man.
100% auction appears.
and he really needed it.
And in fact, it's a shiny one. Use your Master Ball!
Oh, that's a keeper.
That thing is so rare.
Shiny Gadgetzan Auctioneer.
Wow.
Wow.
Indeed.
It is starting to come together. I think the response is going to be Coin Ragnaros.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
I
gonna go into a critical Ragnaros. I can't wait.
I feel like I've seen that before with Teray versus Tides of Time.
Oh,
man.
I believe you're right. And Gadgetzan Auctioneer won that fight, I believe, even against the mighty Ragnaros.
It did.
Go.
All right, guys.
Well, here we go.
It's time.
Well, hold on. He might draw Lotheb.
Let's take a
instead.
poll.
Lotheb would be good too.
Is he going to hit it?
No, it's
no.
Taskmaster. So here we go.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be Ragnaros.
Does it hit, Frodan? Does it hit? Does it hit?
Oh, Green Sheep.
That is not hitting.
It looks like he hit it.
man.
No!
Wow.
Did he attack with his weapon? I don't think he did.
No,
He didn't.
not.
That would have been the race method.
Yes.
Right.
yes.
He might have played
That
that,
was
a
a
little
mistake.
quickly.
That was
He
a mistake.
yeah, he absolutely should have gotten him down to 12.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, Ragnaros is not going to be long for this world.
Dang. He is going to be able to kill off Ragnaros too. No chance of sap. Don't need to sap it. You just kill it off rather than be under pressure to get some damage again.
Well, look, he's still got some big guys in his hand, and he's got an okay-ish life total. Like, maybe he can... Oh, God. Maybe not, actually. Looking at this hand.
No.
Death is coming for him, guys.
Yeah. What can you do? You can Sludge Belcher and try to be defensive, but that's not what Malygos Miracle cares about. They just sap and do damage.
At this point, it's looking like Green Sheep is going to be cold like a lamb.
Wow. Oh, man. And this is elimination match once more to reiterate. Chiro needs to win this one game to stay alive in BlizzCon.
Yeah, one of these players going out, and it could be Green Sheep as early as this game.
Yeah. Really rough on him because he did get 3-0'd before, so to lose 1-3 here is a bit painful.
Wow. I don't know. I feel like even just putting out that Sludge Belcher is like sending a lamb into the slaughter, Artosis.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Wow, and he can save
His taunts are getting sheared.
Oh, I feel so bad for the people behind
man.
us listening to our
Yeah.
jokes.
Poor guys. Dude, this is...
And he's
You have to clear at least 2 minions here.
Okay. He can do it, right? Oh, no, he doesn't have enough to shield slam and bury.
Yep, 1 mana off from that play, and even if he did, he would be taking himself down to 10.
Oh, man. Green Sheep.
Yeah,
you
man,
can
that's
tell.
gonna do it. That's gonna be the
That is
end.
it.
Malygos preparation, Sinister Strike is 8 damage.
Wow.
Oh, Chiro stays alive and goes to the top 8, or goes to the cider match, excuse me. While Green Sheep is going to bite the dust, and his journey of BlizzCon ends here.
Well,
That's right. Shiro playing very well there.
still going
it's-
to be present at BlizzCon, mind you.
That's
That's
right.
right. That's
Green
right.
Sheep will be there, guys.
That's right.
So, you know, he does go home, but a very young player, and, you know, he's got great support from a team like Dignitas. So,
Yep.
you know, this is someone that we'll probably see back quite a bit.
yeah, I think so. In fact, it was announced earlier today that he got invited to DreamHack Winter, which is cool.
Great.
that he's getting
Fantastic.
recognized for some of his placements. So even though he ends here, it's still top 16 is an accomplishment in itself.
In the
and
world.
also, yeah, exactly. And remember, Green Sheep was a substitute like Koar too. Like he was not supposed
That's
to
true.
attend
That's
the
true.
European qualifiers, and
Yeah.
he ends up going through all the way in being here in California, and that's quite the journey for such a young kid.
Yeah, he tried to make the most of that opportunity. He made it into the top 16. $5,000, going to be hanging out at BlizzCon.
That's right.
So it's not all a loss. I'm certain it's not where he wanted to be. He obviously looked very upset. So, but you're right. He's a young talent. He's really good. We'll definitely be seeing more of him, and I hope we do.
At least at DreamHack we will. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the groups and how they are right now. And you can see here that Green Sheep, unfortunately, does fall. And, of course, Firebat and Shiro will play for that last spot. That's going to be a fantastic match, guys.
Yeah.
And, of course, we do have Group D coming up. The last match
Of
Jinx.
the day.
Done, Reels. Get out of here.
Man.
It's going to be Gun and Gun against Frozen Ice. And,
Gun and run.
he's a running and he's a gunning. And he's going to be going up against Frozen Ice, who did lose to Clinton in a very close match. So it should be good. Reels, what do you think about that one?
Well, I think that
You broke the jinx.
That's right. Oh,
That's
I hope
messed
the
up.
camera didn't catch me abusing Reels after using it for the jinx.
it definitely
Oh,
did.
man.
So, wow, you threw me all the way off.
I did. I knocked some brain cells out of there.
Well, Run and Gun, I liked what we saw in the first match. He, of course, didn't quite get there, so now he's faced with elimination. I think there's at least a pretty good chance there for him, but Frozen Ice,
I think Frozen Ice has got that last one.
yeah, Frozen Ice
Yeah, I
might
think
just be, on paper, the better player. So that'll make it really tough for Run and Gun, and Frozen Ice needs to defend his honor by making good on that.
Well, you never want to run with a gun on frozen ice because that's dangerous.
Wow.
Let's go ahead, throw it over to Rachel, and see what Shiro has to say.
I need a moment to recover from that one. That was some life advice right there. Well, I want to start things off right away. We have a mystery on our hands. Can you give us the proper pronunciation of your gamer tag?
他想知道你的名字的 ID 到底应该正确的发音是什么
正确的发音应该是七若。
The correct pronunciation should be 七若。
Chiro.
Yes.
All right, guys, learn it. Chiro. We've heard some interesting ones, but I'm glad to see you on this desk. And part of the reason I'm glad to see you here is because you have a very cool jacket. Can you talk to me about the Chinese players who all showed up in this beautiful jacket?
你的外套非常的酷啊！你能够向我们展示一下这件外套吗？
可以。
We're gonna get a little fashion show, ladies and gentlemen. Can we get a twirl? Can we see the back? Look at that, absolutely fantastic. So, who got you these jackets?
是谁帮你设计和谁给你的这套外套？
这就你来说吧。
So actually, our partner in China, NetEase, designed and got this jacket for our Chinese representatives.
Very cool.
So you need to win one more game, one more match to make it into the top 8. Are you worried about your next match?
你再赢一场比赛，你就可以晋级到下一个阶段。你现在紧张吗？对你的下一场比赛？
我觉得我不是很紧张，因为我下一场比赛打的还是我上一轮输的对手 Firebat。我觉得他在上一轮把所有的运气用光了。
All right. He said, "I am not worried at all, because my next opponent, Firebat, he has used up all his luck last game against me, so I'm not worried at all."
That's good to hear. I like someone who goes into this with confidence. I want to know what drove you from the very beginning to invest the time into Hearthstone to become one of the best?
在一开始你是怎么样的契机让你决定要投入如此多么的时间来决定要玩炉石这个游戏啊？你的动机是什么？
因为原来我是玩魔兽世界的，然后一起玩魔兽世界的一些朋友，他们开始玩炉石这游戏，并且告诉我，然后我也很幸运的收到了那个激活码，所以我就开始玩炉石了。
So, a lot of my friends play World of Warcraft. I used to be a World of Warcraft player, and some of my friends in World of Warcraft they started to play Hearthstone, and I learned that the game is a lot of fun, and I was lucky enough to get a activating code in order to get into the closed beta, so I started to play.
Very cool. We're glad you got into that closed beta. We're glad you got all that extra practice because now you're here on one of the biggest stages in Hearthstone. Ben, that's a pretty cool thing this kid's about to do, huh?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I was worried you wouldn't agree with me just for a split second. Nah. Well, is there anything you want to say to all the fans who are watching at home, everyone who's supporting you?
在现在你想对你的粉丝对那些在看比赛的玩家，你有没有什么想说的话？
我会努力比赛的，努力进入4强。
I'll try my best. Try my best to get to the semifinal.
To the semifinal, all the way to the final, all the way to the winner podium. We shall see very soon. But before that, we're going to go, we got one more match coming up tonight, if that's correct.
Yes.
Yes. But before that, you guys, I know you're sitting there on the computer, you're watching the match. Why don't you hop on Twitter, follow Play Hearthstone, and tweet at us. Let us know what questions you have for our final competitors, and also whatever you want to say to the casting couch, because they're very receptive and chatty tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to give it back to them.